Good morning. We're back. We're back again for early morning stream. Let's see. All right. Hopefully today is far less spelunking through code. One can hope. One can hope. That first shot of espresso. Oh. All right. I think today's the day I get a haircut. I think today's the day. All right. All right. How many times am I going to say all right? Excuse me. Big yawn. Big yawn. Alright, so I finally got this working. If you were here yesterday, you may recall that we went on a little bit of a side quest yesterday, trying to figure out how to get this sample to work with a particular third-party package. Sorry, my brain's not. I'm not online yet. The caffeine hasn't hit yet. But if I do .NET run, oh yeah, this is not working because I have to use the right models. Change that to that. Alright, looky there. So we've got, what is this, French? So English, French, Spanish. I like it. It lives. It lives. This should actually be if event is update. Oh goodness. What have we done? We left off a curly brace. There we go. Look at us. Although we want right line because Sasha. Hello, Sasha. I'm not tripping. You're you're coding in PowerShell? Sort of. So I'm in Windows Terminal, and my shell of choice is PowerShell, and I'm using an editor called NeoVim, which is a terminal-based editor. So I'm actually writing code in NeoVim, which is running in PowerShell, and PowerShell is in Windows Terminal. So sorta, kinda, not really, you know. But yeah, it's a pretty awesome experience. If you're interested in ever checking it out, you can find NeoVim here. Oops. Which maybe you're already aware of NeoVim. So NeoVim is a pretty cool IDE. I guess it's not really an IDE, it's more like an editor, but you can add a lot of plugins to it that gives you more of an IDE experience, right? So I'd probably put it on par with more like Visual Studio Code. A little bit more challenging, in my opinion, to configure and get set up, but it's fun to use. Okay, so what do I want to do now? So this was we went on a very long side quest yesterday, and I'll actually, as an update, I figured out what the problem was, and it was actually a problem with the Gemini.net package that I was using. And I actually opened 2 PRs on the repo, and I got one of them merged. So this one is still out there, and it looks like he's thinking about approaching it a little differently than I approached fixing it. So this one will probably get merged. I don't know if he'll have other changes to add to it. But I did get, let's see. I did get this one merged, which was, I think, the more important one. It's a pretty small change. It's basically just populating one particular property on an object. But it's an important property for Microsoft.extensions.ai. So that's pretty cool. So always fun when you can contribute to an open source project. Yeah, good shit, right? I'm familiar with NeoVim. I didn't know you could run it on Windows. Yeah, it works on Windows. You can faux show use it on Windows. I can't tell you how many times, Sasha, I've had people though come to my streams and be like, "A Windows user using NeoVim? How dare you?" A lot of people always feel very conflicted about my terminal experience, my terminal-based code editing setup. It's like Mac and Linux users feel like they're the only ones who are allowed to use NeoVim. Hey, what's up, Gunhighs? How are you doing? Good to see you. I was just giving everybody an update on my adventures from yesterday. I know you were here yesterday for a little bit. I actually got a PR merged into that to this Gemini.net project, which is cool. So now I'm a contributor. It's always cool when you can see your name on a repo that you don't own as a contributor. Your terminal is like, oh my PowerShell. Yeah. Yeah, I don't I mean, I don't know if it's mandatory to customize and configure your shell environment or your terminal environment, but it kind of goes back to what I was saying about mechanical keyboards, right? Like there's something about having tools that you enjoy using, right? So there's something about having a terminal that's perfectly configured aesthetically and functionally to how you like to work and how you like to do things. Um, it makes working and it makes doing things enjoyable, which means you will more than likely do more of it. So shout out to Oh My Posh, because we wouldn't have pretty terminal PowerShell terminals without Oh My Posh. Hello, Yasir. How are you? Good to see you, man. Nah, it's not mandatory. I use only PoshGit. Ooh, PoshGit is mandatory. PoshGit is mandatory, especially if you're working on like a rather large project, you know, with a lot of different people. Trying to remember where the hell you put that branch can be kind of messy. I also, whenever I name branches, I always name branches in a particular way. Like I always name them like I put my name, and then I always put the type of thing, like if it's a fix, a feature, a chore, formatting, refactoring, and then I usually put the description as the final part of the branch name. And the reason I always do this is because in some GUIs, if you nest things like this with slashes, forward slashes, it actually shows up as like a directory structure. Like I know in Azure DevOps, it shows it to you that way, where it basically groups all of your branches under your name, and then it'll group your branches by whatever that type is, which is really nice to look at in a GUI experience. Yeah, PoshGit is OP, faux show. I have yesterday customized the terminal OhmyZSH. Yes, OhmyZSH is great too. That's what I use actually on my Windows setups is OhmyZSH, which I'm guessing it's going to ask me to update it right now. um, but yes, OhmyZSH is great too. So wonderful, wonderful libraries. I'm sure the people who maintain those libraries, it's probably a rather thankless it's probably a rather thankless job with a lot of needy developers, but I'm very appreciative of it. Regarding GitFlow, Atlassian GitFlow is great. However, many open source GitHub repos are using GitHub Flow with commit squash on PRs. Well, not ideal, at least for me. Oh, you don't like squashing commits? I don't usually squash commits. I usually just merge or I rebase. If I can, I'll always try to rebase. I think having a linear history is a lot easier to understand than having a really divergent main branch wherever where, where you see like a lot of tree. Uh, difficult to follow in and out. Uh, Git history. But I also know that rebasing can be a little bit intimidating at first, and sometimes it's just easier to click the merge button. All right, I have no idea where I even was with all this stuff. I think let's go back to the foundational. I think we were doing all the foundational tutorials, is what we were doing. And then we got stuck on one. Although I think I have a pretty good, I think I'll do the last two here, and then I think I have a good enough grasp that I'd like to start building my agent. So what's this? The sample introduces the use of AI agents as executors within a workflow. to compose the agents into one of several common patterns. So you have a sequential workflow, which I think is kind of what we're doing with the translation agents already. This is just going from like step A to step B to step C. Then you have a concurrent workflow. Then you have a handoff. What's a handoff? Creates a new handoffs workflow builder as the starting agent in the workflow. The agent will receive inputs to the workflow. Handoff between agents are achieved by the current agent invoking an AI tool provided to an agent via the client options. The AI agent must be capable of understanding those agent run options provided. If the agent ignores the tools or is otherwise unable to advertise them to the underlying provider, handoffs will not occur. Interesting. Huh. I don't see any tools being included here, so I wonder. I wonder what that's about. Yeah, I think I'd like to try to dive in. Maybe we dive into building my thing. Oh, this is an example using Anthropic. Oh, these are using different providers. So they're using Anthropic, they're using OpenAI. Hosted web search tool. Build a sequential workflow. Researcher, fact checker, reporter. Run the workflow, streaming the output as it arrives. Interesting. Yeah. So okay. So like I think I'm ready to dive in. I think I want to dive in. I think actually, hold on. Let's look at conditional edges real quick. Conditional edges. Oh, this is kind of an interesting example. Spam detection executor, email assistant executor, send mail executor, handle spam executor. Okay, so we build the workflow by adding executors and connecting them. Read an email from a text file. You are a spam detection agent, or you are a spam detection assistant that identifies spam emails. Generate a random email ID. Store the email content to the shared state. Oh, there's shared state. That's new. We haven't looked at that. Let's hack short. Hey, what's up, man? It's been a long time since I've seen you in my lives. It's good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, we're doing I changed up my schedule a little bit this week. So we're streaming early in the morning, or at least early in the morning for me. I know not early in the morning for everybody else, but Okay, so how do we define the conditions? That's what I'm kind of interested in. How do we... Get condition? What's this? There we go. Bool, expected result. Detection result. Detection result is detection result, and result is spam equals expected result. Oh, it's basically just saying, hey, if you're going from spam, can go to the handle spam executor only if is spam is true, and spam detection executor can only go to the email assistant if is spam is false. This is really nice. I mean, honestly, I'll have to say this API alone, regardless of anything to do with AI, this type of API for building workflows is really, really nice. Like arbitrarily, you don't even have to use this for AI, right? You could just use this purely for workflows, which is really cool. You can start mixing and matching a lot of probabilistic and deterministic things to orchestrate a particular workflow, which is kind of what I'm gonna do. So, well, actually, most of my stuff's gonna be interacting with AI, but it's cool. It's like for sure I'm gonna put this in my back pocket for future projects. Like if I ever have to implement a workflow, I'm gonna come back to this. I'm gonna come back to this library and look at that code because it's a really nice API. Someone smart at Microsoft wrote it. All right, so what do we want to build? So what we want to build is basically, I have this blog, right? By the way, Steven, are these shortest live streams be your standard, or do you plan to do a 16:9 too? Short-ish. So you mean vertical. So I've only been doing vertical streams for the last... Oh shit, what are we in? We're in fucking October now at this point. Yeah, so for like the last 9 months, I've pretty much only done vertical streams. If you go back and look at some of my streams from early January into December, well, I guess early January. So this is how the whole streaming thing started. If you guys have ever heard of Advent of Code, so basically the way Advent of Code started was, or not the way Advent of Code, not the way Advent of Code started, but basically the way my streams started was in December of 2024. I basically started streaming every day. I did Advent of Code, and you can see I made it to the first part of 17, day 17. And I streamed on Twitch, and I streamed horizontally. Then in January, I moved over to YouTube and Twitch and streamed horizontally. However, Twitch, like, there was no interaction, so I decided, I want to stream to YouTube and TikTok. Well, TikTok was much more vertical first at the time, so I started streaming vertically to YouTube and vertically to TikTok. The engagement and the interaction on TikTok was zero basically as well. So I decided to stop streaming to TikTok and to just stream to YouTube. And I just kept it as a vertical stream because I noticed that whenever I streamed vertically to YouTube, the number of viewers and the engagement I had was much, much higher than when I streamed horizontally. So that's why I've left it. I've had multiple people ask for horizontal streams, and I've just never gone back to it because honestly, the analytics are very clear that um, the analytics are very are very clear that horizontal streams don't get pushed by YouTube. They don't get shared around. They don't get there's not like a discoverability to them. So maybe at some point when my channel gets big enough, I might consider doing some vertical streams or trying to dual stream. I did try to dual stream one time. I tried to stream from I tried to stream both a horizontal stream to YouTube and a vertical stream to YouTube, and it just kind of crushed my network and my machine's resources, so I didn't ever try that again. So that was a very long answer to your question, Gunhighs. Of like for now, I'm just planning on doing vertical streams. What do you think of the new Call of Duty? I think the new Call of Duty is a lot of fun. I've only played the multiplayer, so I haven't played any of the zombies or I don't even know if is the campaign available on the beta, but just the multiplayer. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of people play it. Been watching Tim the Tatman play it with Nade Shot. Looks great. My kids are playing it. Both my sons have been playing it, and they're having a lot of fun. So, yeah, I say 2 thumbs up. J Marie, hello. Oh, you started on TikTok? Didn't know I used TikTok. Oh, I started on Twitch originally, and then I streamed a little. The place I've been the most consistent about streaming to has been YouTube. Vertical streams are great. I can watch them at work on my vertical monitor, but I was wondering if horizontal may be an option. Vertical are okay though. Yeah, I think I would like to try the horizontal and vertical stream at the same time again, and see if maybe since I got this new computer and I have 3 gigabit um, internet now, maybe uh, it may not crush my network or crush my machine as much. Maybe so. We'll see. Hey, what's up, Wilo Gamer Pro? How are you? Are you gonna watch the physics Nobel Prize announcement? I wasn't planning on it. Did they award it to somebody? Let me see. I guess I'm not in the know. I saw they awarded the I saw that they awarded the Nobel Prize for medicine. let's see. Nobel Prize. Nobel Prize Physics. Oh, they're announcing it. October 7th at 5:30 a.m. Oh, literally in like 45 minutes. That's cool. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Probably not gonna watch it though, but that's exciting. God, could you imagine being told you're gonna win the Nobel Prize? Damn, 3 gigabit, nice. Yeah, so that we just moved to this new house, and at the old house, we had AT&T internet, and it was 1 gigabit, and we were paying like $90 a month, which internet in the United States is ridiculously uncompetitive and expensive as far as I understand it. I understand in Europe there's a lot more competitive. The market is more competitive and the prices are better. But then we moved here to this house, and our providers were between AT&T and Google Fiber, and Google Fiber was offering 3 gigabit internet speed for $100. So we pay like $10 more a month and get 3 times the bandwidth. It's like, to me, it seems like a pretty good deal. I should hide the live chat so I can see what's really happening on your screen. Well, I can also too. I set up another scene to put my camera on the bottom. So if there's ever a time where you guys think like, hey, I could really benefit from the code being up on top, I can switch it temporarily. I still prefer the camera being on top, um, particularly because I splice the stream up and turn them into shorts content. So I prefer the camera on top for that reason, but I can flip over to being on bottom, on top, on bottom. These are these are words you probably shouldn't say on the internet without some context. Excuse me. All right, back to the topic at hand. We're gonna try to build. I'm trying to get my diagram here. We are gonna try to build basically I'm going to try to build, so you remember how, or you guys may not remember, so I built this application called Stream Shorts, which that is what's helping me. Why is this not working? Oh, because lexical error on line 22. Well, in any event, I'll just draw it in Excalidraw. I have way too many Excalidraw drawings. Okay, so basically, I want to build. The idea here is a blog intern, basically. Hey Landon, how are you? Good to see you, man. MD, yo, what's up, MD? By the way, Sorry for wasting your time on GitHub. Oh, you didn't waste my time at all, man. Obviously, I mean, that's part of contributing to other people's repos and other people's code is you look at something and you try to explore it and you think there might be something wrong and you open a PR and maybe there's something you didn't know, right? When you open that PR. And so that's just part of the nature. Sometimes you open PRs and they don't get merged and other times you do. And in the process you learn, you know? So no worries at all. You didn't waste my time. Okay, so I wanna build basically somebody that can help me increase the amount of content that I'd like to write more. Basically, I'd like to publish more blogs. I'd like to do like one a month, if not more than that. Right now, I'm like averaging one every other month type of thing, and so the biggest pain point I have with blogging at this point in my career is really just time. It takes time to sit down and write. And so, but however, I spend quite a bit of time like posting on Blue Sky, for example. Like I'll have a thought that comes to mind and I'll write it up into like 3 or 4 sentences. I'll post it on Blue Sky. I also have these live streams where I'm basically sitting talking to myself or talking to you guys for 2 or 3 hours. And there's probably a lot of ideas in here that I could use to create blogs from. However, looking at a blank page is kind of overwhelming. So what I'd like to have is I'd like to have an employee, an AI employee, that I can basically hand off a, a small post, a LinkedIn post, a Blue Sky post, maybe a short for my YouTube channel, like a transcription of it. And I'd like it to be able to basically do a little bit of research, right? So I want it to be like, here, do a little bit research. Like that. And then I'd also like to have a writer. So I'm kind of thinking there's these different agents, there's these different personas. So I guess there's like more than one employee here, but they kind of are going to work together to form sort of a singular thing. So a writer. And then I think here is what why are these not connected? There we go. Researcher, like this. And then obviously last, I think I want some sort of editor. So this is basically the workflow we're looking for. Editor. So this is kind of a sequential workflow with a conditional edge, right? So we have researcher goes to writer, writer goes to editor, and then we have a conditional flow that goes back here. Yeah, it goes back there if the editor has critiques, or I guess grammar, feedback, things like that. So this is basically what I want to try to model with the agent framework. I think there's also like, there's probably an evaluation or like a critique, a critic that kind of looks at the blog post that was drafted and looks at like existing blog posts that I've written personally and maybe compares it for like tone or style or something rather than just looking for spelling and grammar mistakes. But basically then the output of this will be all of this will then be, I love Excalidraw so much. Which I don't know if you guys have been following along. In the .NET world, there's this new technology called Aspire, which is pretty cool. And they have a YouTube channel. Whoops. That's not what I wanted. Aspire.dev. They have a YouTube channel, and they actually took the Excalidraw repo and Aspire-fied it on Friday. And adding Aspire to something is basically just using Aspire to orchestrate your local dev setup. So if you're interested, you should go check out Aspire, because Aspire is cool because you use C# to it's implemented in C# and it's using .NET, but you can use it to orchestrate really any basically any local dev setup. You can basically use Aspire to help make it easier to orchestrate it. So you can kind of think it like a better version of Docker Compose almost. It's very cool. Okay, so then the output is basically going to be a blog post draft. So this is not AI slop. Like, I'm not trying to have this system just like perpetually generate shitty content and post it to my blog. But the idea is, if I have this system where I can sit down, where I can basically give it a prompt and it flushes out a blog post for me that I can start to whittle and craft, I think it's far more likely that I'll actually get more blogs out than if I have to start from scratch every single time. It's also a good excuse to build something with this agent framework. So I think that's what we're going to do. Favor, can you read this? I can read this. Hello, Code Buddy. How are you doing? MD, you are very kind. Of course, MD. Yeah, I would never tell anybody they're wasting my time just because they opened a PR on my GitHub and then I didn't merge it, or on one of my repos and I didn't merge it. So okay, so I think the first things first. We need to obviously create a directory to do all this in. So let's create a directory. What do we want to call this? Make dir. Actually, we can just do .NET new. I think we call this. Also, this is just going to be a console app again, by the way. So still no GUIs. I was thinking about that the other night. I haven't actually built like a proper website in a little while. I probably need to sit down and actually build some sort of web app, because it's been a little while since I've done that. I've been doing a lot of backend CLI stuff. What do we want to call this? Caleb, are you a real dev? What does that even mean? What makes somebody a real dev? What makes somebody quote unquote a real developer? Is it being paid to write code for a living? Is it having the job title developer? Is it knowing how to develop software? If it's having the job title of developer, I do not have that job title. My job title, you can find me on LinkedIn. My job title is Senior Quality and Reliability Engineer. That's my current job title. So if you use that definition, no. Caleb, using NeoVim? I am using NeoVim. If you're using NeoVim as the definition for a real dev, then yes, I'm using NeoVim. If you're using the definition of just like, can you build software, then yes, I would say I'm a real developer. Baver, maybe being human is a real dev? Well, I don't think. I mean, anybody can be anything. Anybody can declare themselves anything, right? So nobody. I wouldn't allow anyone to define me myself, but I would say at the very minimal, to declare yourself a developer, you should be able to build software. On Anza, do you smoke weed while working? No, I don't smoke weed while working. You get in trouble for that. Most businesses probably have some sort of. I mean, even in the United States, where some states are making it legal, most businesses still have policies, that prohibit that. They have drug testing policies in most cases. I don't do drugs and I don't drink. Never have, never probably will. Um, in high school, you know, when when we hit like freshman, Caleb, don't you just work remote though? Yeah, I do work remote, but again, it's like just because you work remote doesn't mean you should be, uh, you know, getting crunk on the job. And half the people in company I work in smoke weed. They analyze cyber threats. Well, that I don't know how good I don't I don't know how good that makes me feel. Phone task, bro. Can you do me a favor for all of us by editing only Office open source version to block its internet permission for Linux as .deb? I have no idea what you're talking about. That's the most random chat message I've ever gotten. Shudo, you work for Lockheed? No, I don't. I don't work for Lockheed. No, I do not. You can go to my LinkedIn and you can see my whole professional history on my LinkedIn, and you're welcome to connect with me over there if you'd like to. Uh, what was I gonna say about? Oh, about yeah, drugs and alcohol. That's never been my thing. Like in high school when all my friends started partying like that, I just didn't. I always felt like I had too much to lose, you know, between school and work and football. Just there was too much going for me to screw it up with that. And now as an adult, I feel a lot of the same way. I also have my family has a very long and strong history of alcoholism. So that's a devil I don't want to dance with. And I'm a newbie there, so I don't question their work ethic, but they say it helps them work. I mean, yeah, I would think caffeine would be a better drug of choice for productivity, but you know, who am I to judge other people's lives and how they live them? Favor, which Linux distro you use? I don't use a Linux distro, or I guess I do use a distro. So most of the Linux I use is either WSL here on my Windows machine, which is an Ubuntu installation, or I have like 2 or 3 servers that I run Ubuntu server on as well. So I can just like SSH into this server, and they're all kind of configured and set up the same way. Some are in public cloud, some are hosted here on my local network. Uh, but yeah, for the most part, I just use Ubuntu server. Mainly not because like I have like a deep passion for Linux distros and advocate for one over the other. It's just what I know and what I started using, and I've just kept using. Hey, what's up, Starwatt? How are you? Good to see you, man. Angry as Hellfish. Hello, I just hit 50 subscribers last night, and I'm excited to begin streaming. I'd love to hear any tips you have for success. Well, first of all, congratulations on 50 subs. It took me more than 10 years to get 50 subs on my YouTube channel. Let's see. Success for streaming. Well, one, I don't know if I'm a successful streamer, right? So I think I'd be careful to position myself as that, as though I have any good advice for being successful at it. I think the number one thing you have to do is you have to be consistent, right? which I'm not always great at, but I think trying to be consistent about showing up is important. I would say second is don't try to be anything you're not. Like, don't try to have like an on-stream personality and an off-stream personality. I'll just speak from like a viewer perspective. I think it's very clear when people are trying too hard on stream to be funny or entertaining or to be basically to be not them. I think it comes through as disingenuous, and I think people can smell it and feel it. So my advice would be consistent and then just be yourself. You know, I think your goal should be to attract the people that want to fuck with you in a good way, obviously not a bad way, right? But attract those people who resonate with who you genuinely are as an individual and move along those who don't, right? So that would be my advice. Shudo, coffee is too good for coding. I agree. Yeah, coffee is awesome. Coffee, which speaking of coffee, I'm actually out. These, I gotta go refill these here in a minute or two. Linux community is very weird, so I moved to FreeBSD. I've not tried FreeBSD. However, I would like to because there is a gentleman by the name of Derek Sivers. Let's see, Derek Sivers. He's written some books, and he also started a company called CD Baby, like in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. That was very successful. He, though, published this post on his website. It's called Tech Independence. And one day, I want to go through this start to finish. He's using FreeBSD as the operating system, and he basically has you kind of set up everything you would ever want for yourself in your technical life on your own server. And I just think it's super, super cool. So I'd love to go through this, learn a little bit about FreeBSD, and then at the end, have myself a server that has email, contacts, calendar, all the good stuff. But yeah, so if you guys would ever be interested, and I'll just post it in the chat here. I think it's pretty cool. Whenever anybody brings up FreeBSD, that's the first thing I think of. Previous IT company I worked in required full health check, including urine sample, but this new don't give a give an F. Yeah, like the thing is, all the companies I've ever worked at, I've never been drug tested. Like I've been drug tested as part of the hiring process, but while I worked there, I was never drug tested. But they've all had policies that said they could drug test you. So, and in my experience, Murphy's Law is a real thing. So, yeah, just the whole idea of trying to play like Russian roulette of I'm gonna use a substance that I could potentially get fired for, just that's too much anxiety for me to ever deal with. Angry as Hell Fish. That's awesome, man. You started streaming 1 month ago, or started making shorts 1 month ago. You already have 50 subs. That's awesome. Keep going. Yeah, it took me a long time. I think in January of this year, I had 21 or 24 subs or something like that on my YouTube channel, and I had well over 500 plus videos on my YouTube channel. So you're doing much better than I have ever done. Same here. I want to try the OG Berkeley sockets interface. Yeah, your interests are far more specific than mine. Hey Butterscotch, how are you? Good to see you, man. Coffee is awesome, but have you tried chai, which is tea? So I'm not a big tea guy. Yeah, not a big tea guy. I'll drink it if that's all that you got, but I would much prefer coffee. All right, so I think I'm gonna name my application. I'm gonna name my application Casper. Casper. What do you guys think of that? .NET new console out Casper. Why Casper? Because Casper the Ghost. And this is basically going to be like my personal ghostwriter. So, play on words, right? Um, .NET new console Casper. Wonderful. And let's do .NET run. Hello world. Great. So we're gonna need 3 packages, I think. Butterscotch busy with university stuff, not getting any time to chill or relax. Well, Butterscotch, I hope the university stuff is going really awesome. Hope it's going well. Don't even worry about showing up in my streams if you got university stuff going on. That's got to take priority, man. If you were, if it was my kids, I'd be like, hey, university first, stream participation second, and yeah, I hope it's going well. But I do hope you get some downtime. I mean, downtime is important. It's definitely important to have time away from studying. So hopefully you get that sooner than later. Sarwat, pretty sure there is probably a Casper out there in the world. Oh, you mean like there's probably already an app named Casper? Oh yeah, there's got to be. Let's see, Casper Writer. There we go. That's hilarious. CasperWriter.ai is an AI-powered content generation platform offering tools to create articles, ebooks, video scripts, images, and more. Well, shit. I mean, come on. Why even build your own software then, right? Oh, it looks like they renamed it, huh? Valen? Or is that the company name? That's weird. This is hosted at CasperWriter.ai, but it looks like the name of the application is this now. Wow, they're charging $10 a month? Oh, and they have a limit too. That's kind of lame. Wonder why you'd sign up for this and not just sign up for like Gemini or an OpenAI plan or a Claude plan. In any event, I'm still gonna build my own. I don't give a fuck. Plus, I want to learn this framework. So let's go in here and let's say, okay, we want .NET add package, and we are gonna add. First thing we're gonna add is we're gonna have Microsoft's hosting packages. So we're gonna say Microsoft.extensions.hosting. This package is great because it provides you all the dependency injection extensions, all the configuration extensions, the options extensions, which means for a console application, you can basically wire up all of your typical hosting model benefits. Like you can make dependency injection work, you can make app configuration work out of the box. It just provides you the host model provides you a lot of benefit with very little effort. So I'm going to add that, and then I'm also going to add the Gemini.net.extensions.ai package. So this is that package that I was talking about. Oh, actually, hold on. I'm not going to do it that way. .NET remove package Gemini. Why am I not doing that? So I'm not doing that. Oops, .extensions.ai. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to... What do you mean it doesn't have one? I just added it. .NET remove package Gemini.net.extensions.ai. There we go. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to use my forked version of that package in here as a submodule. So the way I'm going to do that is, well, I'll do that in a second. So let's add .NET add package, Microsoft.agents.ai -- pre-release. Pre-release was not matched. God, if I could freaking spell, why can't I spell? There we go. And then we're gonna also need the workflow package. .workflows. Okay. So let's go ahead and get. Actually, hold on. We have a little bit more project set up to do before we initialize our Git repo. So there are some things I want to set in this CSproj. Butterscotch, doing a research work on automation in news and fact checking for my in-semester research project. Writing papers so damn hard. Yeah, writing papers is hard. Yeah. Writing papers is hard because it really forces you to think. You know? I mean, I also think though that's why writing is so valuable, is because oftentimes if you're having problems making sense of something, writing is the best tool because it really forces you to think deeply and clearly about what it is you're confused about or what it is you don't quite understand. Particularly because then you're basically having to communicate it to somebody else. And in order to communicate it to somebody else, you have to therefore understand it. So writing forces you to get clear about what you know, about what you don't know, and help you fill in that gap so that you can actually articulate it in an understandable way to somebody else. Butterscotch, I'm sorry, man. That command does not work. I don't know why. Nightbot has fallen down on the job. As you can see, Nightbot's here, though. It says it's online. And it says it saw your command. But for whatever reason, it doesn't want to talk back to us anymore. With my Pixel, I get Gemini Pro free, but it's unreliable as hell. Oh, really? My Gemini Pro's been great. There are definitely days or hours, like, not every day, but like there are definitely times where I can tell the service they're having issues, right? Where it doesn't respond, like it'll air out. But for the most part, for me, it's been a good experience. Well worth I pay $20 a month. I get all the Google Drive, storage, all that stuff, the G Suite kind of experience, and then also Gemini Pro. I think it's a pretty good deal. RS, what you doing? So I am basically trying to build myself an application using this new framework, this new AI framework or agent framework that Microsoft delivered last week. It's called Agent Framework, right? I know. Good naming. Microsoft is killing it on the naming lately. Copilot, Agent Framework. Honestly, though, imagine how good this name is for SEO, right? Or this name. Like anybody who's like, man, I really want to build an agentic system. Is there such a thing as an agent framework? They're immediately going to land here. It's a good name. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to build something with that framework. Particularly for two reasons. One is I just think would be fun to build something with it, and then two, I'd really like to learn it. Like I'd like to know it. RS, nice. I'm a software engineer. Very cool, RS. Well, good for you, man. I hope you enjoy your time as a software engineer. You know? Let's see, I'm just going to copy my csproj file. Directory.build props? Yeah, that's what I want. Oh, yeah, I should probably... Let's see. What do we want to do here? So let's make dir source. And then let's make a dir test. We need to move everything in there. So remove the bin, remove the obj folder, then move Casper to source, move program CS to source. CD to source. Oh, let's actually let's just start over. So remove all this. I know. Well, hold on. Before we do that, let's do .NET new console out, and let's call this Casper .console. Yeah, that sounds right. And then let's copy you guys probably can't see that very well. Let me switch over to the other terminal. At source Casper. Let's copy these guys. .NET new, and let's do XUnit. Let's add XUnit tests. See you later, Butterscotch. Have a good day, man. Amir, hi. How are you? I'm doing good, Amir. How are you doing? RS, have you used Pocketflow? Worth a look, in my opinion. 100-line agent framework. Pocketflow. Does it work with C# and .NET? That'll be my first question. Pocketflow, 100-line LLM framework. Let agents build agents. Oh no, I see a cursor rules directory here. Pocketflow is a 100-line minimalist LLM framework. Lightweight, just 100 lines, zero bloat, zero dependencies, zero vendor lock-in. Express everything you love. Let AI agents build agents. Current LLM frameworks are bloated. You only need 100 lines for an LLM framework. I was gonna say I was willing to bet money this was Python. Yes, they basically built this around using a graph as the data structure. But there are times you don't want a graph. There are times when you just want a sequential flow. Or maybe you want to do things concurrently. No, this looks cool. Yeah, I'm not a big Python guy though. Not a big Python guy. But it looks cool. Yeah, man. For you Python people out there, check it out. Pocket flow. I'll have to remember that one. Oh, hold on. Advanced. Build cursor with cursor. Dude, somebody is out there. Somebody has a cursor. Whoever this person is, who's this person? Zachary62. He obviously has a cursor subscription, and he is putting that thing to work. Why can't I go to his profile? Oh, maybe I need to hover it. Hover. How do? What the fuck? There we go. I'm Zachary, researcher at Microsoft working on LLM agents and systems. So this guy is the real deal. Wow, he's working at Microsoft Research. Wow. This guy is the man. He's him. He's him. Well, he's a PhD in computer science. So this guy is obviously smarter than me. Hey, Toast, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? So I'm basically just picking up where I was yesterday, where we're looking at the agent framework and we're getting ready to build something with it. Tontai. Hello, Tontai. W, what are you doing? I'm just drinking coffee, writing some code, chatting with you guys. You know, that's basically all my streams are probably ever going to be. Nothing more, nothing less. But we were actually taking, somebody in the chat recommended this agent framework called Pocket Flow, and then that led me to look at this guy's LinkedIn, who is the person behind Pocket Flow, and then I was looking at his LinkedIn, and obviously seeing that he is way smarter than I am. I tell you what, though, if you want to make money, that's the field to get into, isn't it? I was a PhD student at Columbia University, advised by Professor Eugene Wu. My PhD work centers on developing the modern semantic layer for large join graphs in cloud data warehouses. I don't even know what this means. Based on Pocket Flow, I built another LLM workflow for code-based understanding. That's kind of interesting. So an LLM workflow for knowledge-based understanding. Turn codebase into easy tutorial with AI. Wow, I would kind of like to use this at work. Let's see. What does it do? All these tutorials are generated entirely by AI by crawling the GitHub repo. Generate tutorial content in the specified language and save the output in the specified directory. Wow, this looks like it could be really, really useful. Let me star this. I don't have any big complex code bases, but I'm sure those of you that work, like that are, employed somewhere, I'm sure there's probably times where you're crawling over that code base and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? So having something that could dump out a tutorial of your code base, that would be pretty. How do I star this? Oh, right there. Right here, Steven. How do you star something? Right here. There we go. I'm gonna come back to this one. That's very cool. I need to follow this guy. This guy is obviously, he is a cracked developer. All right, going back to what I was doing. Let's see. We need. What do we need? We need NeoVim. Okay, so we're going to use the newer version of. Let's see. Do I want to build this in NeoVim or do I want to build this in Visual Studio Code? That's the question. Let's see. .NET new list. There's XUnit 3. Okay, so we'll say .NET new XUnit 3, and we will call this Casper.console.test. And then here in the root, we'll add our solution file. So we'll say .NET new SLN. Call this Casper. .NET add reference, or no. Yeah, .NET SLN add source Casper console. .NET SLN add source Casper console. Or no, I already did that. We want tests. Casper. And then we need to say .NET add tests has a reference to the console project, like that. Cannot be added due to the incompatible target frameworks between the two projects. Review the projects you are trying to add and verify that it is compatible. Oh, I bet the XUnit templates are old. Yeah, here we go. So we want .NET. Let's actually do .NET 10. Yeah? And then do we want to use the testing platform? I don't think so. I don't think we do. I mean, I'd like to, but the thing is, I don't think NeoVim has great support for this right now, so we're going to leave that alone. Make this .NET 10. And then to make this work, we're going to need a global.json file here. And then .NET. I need to go get more coffee. this guy right here. Yay! We got our project set up. I'm making a TTS YouTube live chat. That's cool. Text to speech YouTube live chat. Very cool. I think that'd be a lot of fun to have. RS, my bad. Not trying to distract you. Have a good morning. No, you didn't distract me at all. That guy. I'm actually really glad you pointed out Pocket Flow. I'm glad that led to my discovery of the other thing that guy built, which seems really cool, which is basically like a code-based to tutorial project with AI. I'll definitely put that to work. Why your PowerShell looks like this? Because I like it. Because it's posh, I suppose. Yes, Toast, because it's posh. It is morning in the U.S. Yep, it's morning here in the USA. It's 5:36 a.m., so it's very early in the United States at the moment. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take a little bathroom break and get some more coffee, and I'm gonna stream probably till about 7 a.m. My kids wake up about 7 a.m., so I've got about an hour and a half left. So hold your horses, and I'll be right back. Let's see. Be right back. Went to get more coffee. Yeah, went to get more coffee. Check out UiPath 2 if you missed my other comment. I think you'll like that too. UiPath? Oh, is that that's the robotic automation. I think I did miss your comment though. UiPath? I think I've heard of this company. This is a company, right? UiPath? Yes, I've heard about this. So my day job is as a quality engineer, so I do a lot of automated browser testing, and UiPath has come up before as something as a potential tool because they do more than they do basically any software, right? They basically can automate like an actual computer. Like they can automate stuff like spreadsheets and all sorts of things. I've not used it though. I've listened to the CEO on a few podcasts. Look at there, they're up 12%. They're having themselves a good year. Man, could you imagine having a company that makes $1 billion a year? It's crazy. Largest tech IPO ever at the time? Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. It's crazy. Yeah, God, permission on your computer. Nice. Yeah, you probably want to sandbox that computer, huh? Who are you people and where is my horse? I don't know. You're in the wrong place, Emmy. I'll be right back. I'm going to go pull some shots of espresso and then come back and work on this some more. I'm going to turn up the music a little bit, so if it gets too loud, turn your volume down. Alright, I'll be right back. All right, I remembered to unmute myself. That's a win. Almost an engineer. First of all, that's a great username. Obviously, my username is fairly lame. It's just my name. I'm not very creative. Uh, but yeah, great username. Second off, yes, you should go get coffee. See RS, and thanks for subbing, RS. I don't know if you're still here, but thanks for hanging out, man. And me, thank you for subbing as well. Okay, no coffee in the house. I'll have to settle for tea. Ah, damn, dude. That's that's crisis mode. No coffee in the house? That's like light the watchtower fires, you know? Emmy, coffee made you more red? Did it? Huh. That's weird. Oh man, there's nothing better than a cup of coffee. Whew. Actually, this is a new coffee drink that I've been kind of stuck on for the last 3 months or so. It's called a long black, which is basically like an Americano but reversed. It's pretty good. It stems from the fact I only have 1/6 of a mechanical engineering degree. Nah, it's all good. I'm British. Oh. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, I was gonna ask you what kind of an engineer you are almost. Emmy, change the PowerShell theme to red. No, 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 no. We're not messing with the Oh My Pod. We're not messing with the PowerShell theme. I got it the way I want it. This whole thing, getting this like little curly wraparound thing, that felt like it took some effort to do. So we're not gonna fuck with the PowerShell theme too much. What we are gonna do though is what are we gonna do? We're gonna finish this project setup. So we need a README, so new item, and we need a license. We'll do MX. This guy. This is a really good package. It's just a little node module package that spits out an MIT license. I use it all the time. I have no idea. I should probably know who made it, but it's very handy. There's pretty much one for like every license out there. Let's see, MIT. Let's MP. I'm just gonna give this guy a shout out because it doesn't feel right to use this package and then not say anything. Yeah, it's this one right here. Is there an author on this? There we go. Who's this guy? Mac Lanou, a Detroit-based software engineer and musician. Well, let's follow him and let's send him a message on LinkedIn. And let's let him know that he makes my life easier all the time. Add note. Yo, I use your MIT license package from NPM all the time. Thanks for creating it. I always feel like it's nice to reach out to people and let them know that you appreciate the stuff they create or made. I know that's not why everyone does it, but I just feel like whenever people do that to me, I really appreciate it. So whenever I get the chance, I try to do it to other people too. ME, where can I get that? I'm guessing, ME, you're talking about the my PowerShell, my Oh My Posh configs. My Oh My Posh configs are actually on my GitHub, or actually they're a gist right now. I need to move this to an actual repo. This would be a lot easier to share if it was in a repo. It's this one right here. This is my Oh My Posh theme. How do I... That's crazy that your username is literally @m_e. Naruto. Bro, what are you going to do? I'm going to write some code, I'm going to drink some coffee, and I'm going to talk to you guys. That's my plan for this morning. Hey, Steven. First of all, I spelled my name wrong. No, I'm just kidding, Toast Ever tried something any PCB? What's that word? I don't know what this word is. Is that just a misspelling? Housing? Yeah. I don't know what that word is, Toast H. Tontai. Is this what are you saying, Tontai? Is this exclamation point? What do you mean? I don't know what you're so excited about. This is my attempt at creating a small application that acts as my own personal ghostwriter for blog content. Let's throw my blog link in there. Blog. Blog.stephenfreeman.com. Also, let's turn on word wrap so that's not so ugly. And then for blog content, it also serves as a great excuse to learn about and use the new agent framework. I don't even know what the link is for this. Here. And we'll just put a little warning sign here. Let's see. Warning under construction. I always feel like it's good to call out. And then we need our license. We also need a .NET new. We need a editor config. I prefer for .NET projects. I prefer all my styling things to go in an editor config file because I use a lot of different editors, right? Like I use NeoVim, I use Visual Studio, I use Rider, I use Visual Studio proper. Which means if I keep everything in an editor config, no matter which IDE I go to, I can use that as like my source of truth for formatting. And then I also need, what else do I need? I need a git ignore. So .NET New actually has a really great git ignore template for you that just comes out of the box, which is wonderful. More languages should have that. However, one thing that the default editor, the default git ignore doesn't have is it doesn't have an app settings ignore. So I always add that. So we'll say app settings, and then I always exclude app settings.example from that rule. So that way, if I do want to include an example app settings file, I can. And I think that's everything we need. Oh no, we need to set up directory.build props. So this is a helpful thing that .NET has for managing project configuration centrally. And I've taken to doing this on a lot of my projects recently. It comes in very handy. Emmy, thanks for this. Of course, yeah, man. I'm happy to share. I'm an open book, so I'm happy to always share things. I mean, most of what I know and most of the things I have, I stole from somebody. or copied from somebody or learned from somebody. So I'm always happy to share anything I've got. Photo. Oh, is that your terminal theme? Yes, that's my Oh My Posh configuration, which is basically my Oh My Posh configuration is basically the default Agnoster theme with a few modifications. Toad Sage, my bad. Shouldering? Oh, I think you mean soldering PCB, like like for like custom mechanical keyboards, that sort of thing. I have never done any soldering before ever. Do you know about Prolate? Go search up real quick. I'm always afraid to search things on stream, so I always try to do it off. It can refer to an American football-shaped object, a brand name for pain medication, or a highly this is according to AI, a highly effective insecticide. So I don't know which one you were referring to, Eric, but I've never heard that word before, so my vocabulary grew today. Photon, we'll try it out. Oh yeah, man, give it a shot. I've spent a lot of time looking at the Oh My Posh themes, and this one's nice. I forget the name of this one. This is, I think, the default one that comes out of the box. Actually, I think it's the creator's theme, if I remember right. The thing I always struggle with themes is colors. It's the same thing I struggle with with building websites, like for front ends. I always struggle with like a good design, a good set of colors. That's why like the vast majority of things that I have built, they sort of steal. They either steal the front end is sort of stolen. The design a lot of times is stolen from something else or inspired by something else. Like I built this website that's like it's not really, it's kind of a clone. Yeah, it's kind of a clone of GitHub's Gist website, but for a very specific niche audience. But like the UI is 100% from GitHub. So I built this with Next.js, Next.js and a minimal API in .NET. But like I always struggle with designs and colors, so I tend to riff off of other people's stuff. And going back to my Posh, I find it particularly difficult to get the colors right for the terminal because like I would really like these colors to be something different. However, I'm af- I'm afraid to waste a bunch of time tweaking them because I'm afraid I would lose like hours trying to find the right shades of color. So, if anybody out there is like good at picking like good looking color schemes, let me know. I would definitely take your recommendations for that sort of thing anytime. EDL the best. What's your opinion on game devs that use Unity and on ones that use frameworks like OpenGL and stuff? My opinion, here's my opinion. Hold on, let me find it. I have an opinion. I have an opinion for you. Here's my opinion. Hold on one sec. One sec. Hold on. This is my opinion. I I just think if you like using Unity, use Unity. If you like using OpenGL, use OpenGL. I don't know what OpenGL is. I know what Unity is just because it's so popular. Um, I'm not really in the game development sphere, but if you like, if if you if you like using NeoVim, use NeoVim. If you like using VS Code, use VS Code. If you want to use Cursor, use Cursor. Like, if nobody's paying you to do it, do what you enjoy. Like, obviously at work, you have to do what they tell you to do, but arguing over tools and like my tools are better than your tools and like it's one thing to give people recommendations, right? Like, hey, you should try this or you should try that. But to get into like arguments about like my language is better than your language, it's just I don't know. It's not productive. It's in a generally, in my opinion, a waste of time. And you don't end up actually convincing anybody of anything. You just entrench them further into their existing opinions. A lot of times, at least. All right, so we got our build props here. So we are going to actually target .NET 10. We want implicit usings, wonderful. We want enabled nullability. These are really good rules. I actually got these rules or these properties, these project properties, from a fella on YouTube named Milan. I don't know, I can't pronounce his last name very well, so I'm not going to try to, but I am going to give him a shout out. If you're in the C# world, Milan C#. That'll bring it up for sure. Milan Jovan. I'm not gonna screw it up, but anyways, he's a very good .NET YouTube creator. You should go subscribe to him if you're in the .NET space. But I watched a couple of his videos where he talked about things he always does with his projects, and these basically make you enforce good code practices from the get. You can't really build your solution without adhering to the the coding styles and formats that you set for your project, which is great. So that's what these are for. And then we need to go into our actual CS project files. This is disconnected. And we need to remove these. So we don't need these. OBS is reconnected. So we need to remove these guys. We can leave the root namespace the same, that's fine. We don't need the target name, the target framework. I'm going to leave the output type as something I set in the individual projects because that could differ from project to project. That looks wonderful. And then whenever you use centralized property management like this with directory build props, you actually have to go into the lower folders and you have to make files there. So you have to go to source, and then you're going to make another one here. Directory. I guess I can just, I don't know why I keep exiting NeoVim. I can do all this in NeoVim. And then in here, we have to basically tell MS Build that, so basically when we build our project, MS Build will stop at the first directory dot build props that it finds. And so what we need to do is we need to actually tell it to keep looking up to include things that are above it. So we have to create a project like, we have to create a CS or a build props file like this. So we'll copy that into here. These right here are just for testing purposes so that we can expose internal members to our tests. And this is also to help with mocking if we want to introduce mocking into our tests. And we have to do the same thing in our test folder here. So we'll say directory.build.props. I need to make myself a little starter template, don't I? Instead of having to do all this setup every time, I need to have something like .NET new freeborn console or something like that. Let's see. Do we need to set anything else up? Hey, what's up, Tom Tai? Linux? You just come into the chat and say Linux? I just learned that in my geometry class today. Well, that's cool, Eric. You leveled me up. My vocab got bigger today. Is your theme config going to inject my pack? No, it will not inject. There's nothing in there. Nothing malicious. But smart. You shouldn't just take code or files from a stranger and on the internet and think they're safe. Almost an engineer. Oh, I'm terrible at front-end design. Yeah, I want to get better at it. I took a couple workshops this year at the Kansas City Developer Conference that were focused on front-end technologies and front-end design. So I'd like to get better at it. I'd like to just get better at like that intuitive like there's something about design that's it's hard to quantify, in my opinion. It's very qualitative. It's like you look at something and it feels right, you know? Some people just have that sense, but I feel like that's a sense you could develop over time. Is it possible to get virus or use Chris Titus tool that loads up in PowerShell from I don't know. I'm sure it's possible to get a virus. From what? I don't know. But I'm sure whatever scenario you're thinking in your head, it's probably a possibility. Just assume it's a possibility, you know? What am I looking for here? I'm looking for another one of my projects so that I can copy the setup. Yeah, I think that might be it. I don't even think I need this one, do I? Might need to add it later. Let's see if it builds now. So this should be .NET. No, we need to go up to the root. .NET build. Okay, something's wrong. Method, top level value statements entry point passes a literal string as a parameter value of a call. Oh, this is because I added retrieve the following strings from a resource table instead. Hello world. Yeah, this is because I added those rules here. Because I enabled all these. Now in my console project, this is a good example of why these rules are important. Now in my console project, it's basically flagging that this should come from a resource file. But actually, I don't care about that. Because this is only ever going to be used by me. I'm not going to translate this into other languages, which is the reason you probably use a resource file, is because you're going to do some sort of translation or localization, I guess I should say. So what do I do here? So how do you ignore this? So the way you ignore this is you'll come to your editor config file and you're going to say, you're going to get the referenced style code, which in this case I think it's CA1303. And you're going to come down here. We're going to make a new section called diagnostic, severity levels. And we'll say .NET, I forget what is this? CA1303. And I'll just disable it. So I'd rather have all the rules on. I mean, you might say, well, why did you enable this if you're just going to disable it? Well, I'd rather have all the rules enabled, like all the best practices enabled, and then disable the ones I don't want to conform to. So that's my approach. Yep, we'll set that to none. And now if we type edit, or maybe LSP restart. Oh, I got rid of it. I think edit reloaded the editor config. So now everything should work now. Now it should build. So Control Alt, .NET build. Great, and now we're off to the races. So we need our so we have our packages installed. We need to get rid of that. That's fine. We can use the JSON, the xunit runners.json. We do need to add to the test project. We do need to add a Fluent validation library that I really like. So we'll say .NET add package awesome. What's it? I think it's called Awesome Assertions or Awesome something. It's basically like a fork of Fluent Assertions. Awesome assertions or something like that. Yeah, awesome assertions. I know some people don't like setting up projects like this. Like they don't like doing all this like boilerplatey work, but I actually kind of enjoy it. Awesome. I'm just going to try that. .NET add package awesome assertions. There are no available packages. Awesome assertion. What? Oh. Yeah, not awesome. Just one awesome. All right, okay, so let's now start to stub out our program, yeah? So let's close that pane. Let's open the program.cs. Oh, I hear my wife. I think my wife's up. Okay. So what is it that we want to do first? So I think the first thing we want to do is we want to create a host. So let's say var host equals host.create default builder. Yeah, default builder, pass in the args, and then build. And this is going to come from that extensions library that I added. Cool. Now what? Now what? We drink coffee is what? It's the same as the Mac versus Windows debate. Just use what you are personally comfortable with. Yeah, use what you're comfortable with. Use what you enjoy. And that can change, right? Like one year it's Mac, the next year it's Linux, the next year is Windows. You can switch between all three in the same day if you want. Like this need to sort of like categorize and box yourself into a particular camp, it's just unnecessary. It's not needed. It's a very primitive human instinct to turn everything into a tribal warfare. Hello from Vietnam. Well, I hope Vietnam's treating you well. Emmy, do you know any good command scanners as antivirus to use for specific viruses that are flexible? No, I have no idea. The only thing I use is the built-in Windows Defender, I think is what it's called. That's what I use on my Windows machines. I just use the built-in, I guess, antivirus is what you call it, or yeah, I don't know. That's what I use. I don't know what term you'd use for it, but that's the piece of software that I use to protect, I guess, my local machines. You have Twitch stream? I see a lot of people live stream coding on Twitch. Yes, so I did stream on Twitch originally. That's where I did Advent of Code at the end of last year. However, the thing with Twitch is like there's no discoverability. So I streamed for like 2 weeks, multiple hours every day. I still think I have like two followers, and I may have in that time had like 10 total viewers. There's just if you're a brand new streamer, a brand new creator, there's just no discoverability on Twitch. You have to, in my opinion, in order to create a large Twitch audience now, you have to find people off of Twitch and drive them to Twitch. So I just don't see the point in creating content on a platform that doesn't help you grow your reach or your audience, or doesn't make a concerted effort to do that. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like, think about how you use Twitch. Do you go to Twitch and do you just like search around for things, or do you go to Twitch and do you know that your particular favorite streamer is already live there, and so you go to their? And I think the vast majority of us do the latter, not the former. Whereas YouTube is much more, especially for vertical streams, YouTube is much more aimed at trying to push people's content to other people through the Shorts live stream. Like, they want people streaming live on their platform. They want to be competitive with TikTok. So they're rewarding creators who are creating the kind of content that they want to push. so that's the reason I don't currently have a Twitch stream. Maybe that changes in the future, but for now, I'm just not going to invest in that platform. But there are a lot of coding streams on Twitch. There's also a lot of coding streams on Twitch that should have far bigger audiences than what they do. Like, you have some really good engineers doing stuff on stream, and very few people are actually like engaging with them and watching their stuff, which is kind of crappy. Trom, I'm not self-promoting. I just love to be up at 4 a.m. coding. I I don't think you're I'm fine with people. If people want to come into my chat and want to share their stuff, that's fine. I don't think you can post links in YouTube chat, but if you want to call out your, like, hey, come watch me code on stream over here, you're welcome to do that. I'm not trying to. I don't think the world's a zero-sum game, you know. Nor do I think that I'm all that important. Like, I'm a random guy sitting in his basement in Kansas City, Kansas, writing code at 6:15 in the morning. You know, like, the internet, like, this whole thing, like, it's fun streaming, creating content. Like, it's fun. I get a lot of energy from doing it. Like, when I create stuff, when I make things, it makes me want to create and make more things, and like that, it brings me energy. So that's a big reason why I do it. But, like, it's not real, right? Like, everybody understands that, like, this isn't real life. Like, at 7 a.m., I'll hop off the stream. I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna go upstairs and, like, hug and say good morning to my real life kids, my real life wife. Like, that's real life. You know what I mean? This is fun, but this is not real life. You know what I mean? I'm cranking on some coffee as well, no food. Yeah, I haven't had any food either, but I've had this is my sixth this is my sixth espresso shot. uh, Ohan Mule. Hi, I'm back. Were you able to fix the bug? Hey, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming back. So actually, kind of a cool update. I shared this earlier. Um, I did get to the bottom of the issue. So what I ended up having to do was, obviously, I used the debugger yesterday to kind of step down all the way down the stack to get to the code that was the problem. And then what I ended up doing, actually, because both of those packages, the agent framework and the Gemini.net package that we were using yesterday, both of those are actually open source. And so what I ended up doing was, for the translation example, I ended up actually pulling down the repo locally. Let's see. lslib Gemini.net. Yeah. So I ended up pulling down that repo locally, and I ended up creating my own branch, my own branches, in implementing the solutions that I thought would make things work. And then I opened 2 PRs on the repo, and I got one of them merged in yesterday, and one of them is still open. Yeah, this one right here. So I got, let's see, this one right here, where I'm setting this was a really simple change. We just needed to make sure that this property was set so that the agent framework could properly tie streamed responses to a complete response. So that one got merged in. So now I'm officially a contributor on Gemini.net. And then the other one, it sounds like he is waiting, the maintainer or the owner of this repo. It seems like he has some other ideas that he might want to implement. So we'll see. We'll see if this one gets merged in, or if he fixes it in some other way. But I think this will get addressed at some point in the future. So yeah, I got it. I did get it figured out. It was not a me thing. It was most definitely, well, it wasn't really a them thing either. It was really integration issue where the agent framework code was depending on the client code behaving a certain way. That was really the issue. So, but it was nice that I could get to the bottom of it because I'm sure other people would have stumbled over it at some point. Let's bug out, brother. Justin H. I'm on 2 Adderall, 3 Vyvanse, 4 Ritalin. Justin, you are tuned the fuck up. Throw a little caffeine on there and you're going to be ready for the day. Tontai. Entity Framework Core is a lightweight, extensible, open source, and cross-platform version of the popular Entity Framework data access technology. So I think Entity Framework Core is a subset of Entity Framework. Entity Framework versus Entity Framework Core. Yeah, so this is so they're actually the same thing. One is compatible with the older .NET framework, and one is compatible with the newer .NET Core version. So if you're not familiar with the .NET ecosystem, Tontai, which maybe you are, so forgive me if I'm explaining something you already know, like 10 years ago, maybe more at this point, and it still lingers on today. .NET was very much a Windows focused development ecosystem because a lot of the APIs were like tied directly into the Windows APIs. However, that's changed, and now there's the more modern .NET, which they used to refer to it as .NET Framework, .NET Core. Now they just refer to everything as .NET. But when somebody today says .NET, what they're meaning is they're meaning the cross-platform version, the version of it that works on Windows, Linux, and Mac. However, there are people that are still running .NET Framework, which is only compatible on Windows, which is why you need an Entity Framework and you need an Entity Framework Core, because there's going to be differences if you're working in .NET Framework versus .NET Core. Entity Framework is great though. I've used it. I've used it with Mongo. I used it with SQLite. I've used it with Postgres. It is a very nice ORM for the .NET community. So yeah, what am I doing here? That's the question. What am I trying to accomplish? Tom, I asked AI to code me an action plan to meet a girl. How'd that go for you, Trom? Also, I realize I keep referring to you as Tom, but your name is Trom, so I apologize. Trom, how is your plan to meet a girl going that was drafted by AI? Ohan Mule. I usually take a break when I come across a bug so I don't break my PC out of frustration. Yeah, that bug wasn't super frustrating. It was more the thing about it, and again, I hate to say it's a bug, but the thing about that issue was just trying to understand the way the agent framework code was depending on the client code to behave. Like what contract was being violated there. That was the difficult part. And sometimes you just have to lock in for an hour or two and crawl over other people's code till you figure out like how things are wired up. Oh, I need to set my editor config. These are all styles I almost always change out of the box. I prefer implicit type, so I like to use var everywhere. I like 2 indents and not 4. I also prefer conditional, what is it? There you go. I also do not prefer conditional expression over return, so I'll set this one to false. it silent. Is there anything else I need to set? There might be other things that I'm forgetting, but that should be enough. And then we'll come back to our program CS. We should be able to reload that editor config by typing edit command. Nice. All right, so we'll definitely want to call to configure services here, and we'll have context in services. This will help us wire up dependency injection. And then we're definitely going to want a configure logging. I don't think we're going to want configure app config. We may need a call to something else at some point, but for now this should be good. We are going to use, let's see, let's do we're going to use Gemini. And I think what I want to do is I want to have a folder. We'll call it Gemini. I want to abstract the provider away from this app because I'm using Gemini, but I don't necessarily have to always use Gemini. So what do I want to call this? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So let's just make a folder called Gemini. And in here, we're going to add, what are we going to add in here? We're going to add Gemini, client, options, or Gemini. I think they call it, oh, you know what? I also need to clone that forked repo. So before we do that, I need to make a new, so if I go into source, actually, we should just make it at the top level. So basically that forked library, they haven't pushed all my fixes. They haven't published all the fixes. So for now, I want to use the forked version of it that I have, so I have control over it. So what I need to do is I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just go back here. Let's delete this. Let's set up Git, and then let's set up our Git repository. Initial commit. So we're going to use Git submodules for this, is what we're going to do. I guess that's the trade-off using libraries. We require them, but we'll have little issues. Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean it is. But the nice thing about open source libraries, you know, you can fork them. So if you ever do need to work around an issue temporarily, right, until something gets merged in, you can always fork it, make the change, and just use that and reference it directly in your code, right? So you're dependent on them, but you have like the release valve of changing it if you need to manually yourself. Obviously, you do take the burden of maintenance on, but you're not stuck waiting around for someone else to do it for you. Hey, Artwork Studios, how are you, man? Yeah, no worries, dude. Do your thing. Hey, like the saying, fork around and find out. Yeah, I mean, that is a problem, right? Like, if you take a dependency on the library and then you run into an issue with that library and you need somebody to make a change to the library for it to work with your code, you're kind of stuck with if they won't make the change, or if it takes a long time to make the change, you're kind of stuck in this boat of, do I fork it and do I take on the maintenance overhead of maintaining it myself until the change is merged? or do I write it all from scratch? In which case, I still have the maintenance overhead. So yeah, it can be it can be a little difficult at times, but that's the nature of software in the 21st century. Ohan Mole. Oh, I never knew that. I'll try that. Yeah, you can for sure. You can for sure fork open source repos. I mean, obviously you probably always want to double check the license, But most people who are making stuff available on GitHub, they have some pretty permissive license, right? Like the MIT license or the GPL3 license. So you can pretty much fork it and use it really in any way you want without getting in trouble for the most part. Roller Coaster 2010. What's up? Hello, Roller Coaster. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, software is never perfect. No, it is not. Tontai. I make text to speech for YouTube Live. I think Tontai, you've already said that, but that sounds like a very cool project. I hope you, I hope you have a lot of fun building it. Okay. Get status. Let's see. GH repo. Create. We'll push this guy up. Repository name. Casper. Yeah, Casper's fine. This. Actually, hold on. Let's cap. What did I say in the README? This is my attempt at creating a small. Yeah. Copy that. Create. I hear footsteps upstairs, so that means the family must be either my wife's up making lunches and stuff, or my kids are up early. My kids usually don't get up till 7 a.m. most days. Set to public. We'll add the remotes. We'll push everything up. All right, so the thing we need to do now is we need to basically add a submodule that references my forked version of the Gemini.net project. So we need to reference this. But I do not remember how to do that, so let's see if Copilot can help us. Copilot suggest initialize, or no, add git submodule to existing git repo. Git submodule add repository URL and the path. Okay, so the path is the path on my local machine for the submodule, I think. So I think what I want to do is, which I like submodules. I think a lot of people, for some reason, a lot of people do not like submodules. I like them. I think it's kind of interesting concept where you can have projects in separate Git repos, but have projects that are sort of dependent on one another, and Git will handle resolving all that code whenever you clone the main repo, right? So you can think you have like your main project repo, and then maybe you have 3 or 4 other packages that repo depends on, but you don't want those to be in the main repo. You can have them in separate repositories, but have the main one reference those other ones using Git submodules. I mean, obviously, you could also just like publish those packages and then like publish the package to NuGet or publish it to npm and then just pull them down as published packages. But I don't know. I think Git submodules are kind of interesting. But like in this case, right? In this case, I don't want to publish my own version of Gemini.net. I just want to use my forked version of it until they publish like a fixed version. Let's see. So get submodule add repository URL. So what do we need? We need maker lib, and then we will what is my repository URL? Copy. Let's see if I do this right. Lib already exists and is not a valid Git repo. So what, you don't want it to exist? Oh, I see what it's getting at. Get sub. Oh, so like I need to have it locally. Let's see. Then I didn't ask the right question. How to set up sub module in existing repo. No, that's okay. Exit. Okay, so run that command. I guess let's remove lib then, maybe? Cat lib. Ah, fuck. Remove. I don't. Cat.get modules. That's not what I want. Okay, so remove. How to remove. How to remove submodule from Git. The submodule path. Okay, get submodule d init -f. And get rm-f lib. And like rm-rf.get modules lib. Oh, that's not it. This is not correct. It's FO. rm-fo. Alright, let's try this again. So what I actually want to do is I want to do the git add command, but I want to put it in lib Gemini.net like that. There we go. That's what I want. Sorry guys, I've been ignoring chat. I apologize. This.dev. Hey man, what's up? I recognize your username. It's such a good username. Every time I see it, I always think, man, that's a great username. What time is it at wherever you are? Are you usually up super early before the rest of the family to get time to code? So no, I just started this like Monday. Over the weekend, I was kind of thinking about like my stream schedule, and I was basically just thinking like, how do I make sure I get time to stream? How can I get time to stream or code in longer uninterrupted periods of time? So what I had been doing up until this point was I'd been streaming during the day for like an hour in the morning, and then I'd been streaming for like an hour over lunch, which was fine, but like it's very broken up, and by the time I would get going, it would be time to get off type of thing. So I was like, well, how can I make time for streaming in like longer segments, like 2, 3 hour segments? And the only real option I could think of was getting up early, because by the time the day starts, work, you know, work is work. And then I've got family in the evening. I want to spend time with my kiddos between, 5 and 8 o'clock at night after I get off work and they're home from school and before they go to bed. And then, after the kids go to bed, I want to be able to hang out with my wife, right? So I don't want to ignore her for 2 or 3 hours every evening. I want to be available to them. So then it was like, okay, well, can I get up at 4 and then stream till like 7? And that gives me 2 to 3 hour long streams where I can write code and kind of talk to y'all and do this in larger chunks. And that's what I'm doing now. That's what I'm trying to do this week, is to give that a go. So I wake up about 4 o'clock, feet hit the floor, run down to the kitchen, run a comb through my hair, run down to the kitchen, make some espresso, and then come down here and fire up the stream. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. CodePen.io/ oh, you're trying to post a link without posting a link. Very clever. Oh, hun. I've been working on a project for weeks. I'm trying to implement a Web3 library with React Native app. I can't seem to find appropriate documentation for it. It works with React, but not right now. I know nothing about React Native, and I know nothing about Web3. I do like React, though. I just don't know how to use it in the context of React Native, because I've never done any mobile type of development, personally. Hey, what's up, Argo Studios? How are you? Let's see, I'm behind on chat, so I apologize. Severely off topic, but can you check out this song I like? It's an NCS song, so it's safe to show as long as you give credit. Yeah, I'll listen to it, but I'm not going to listen to it on stream because I'm always fearful of things getting copyrighted. Favor says, Sarge, you are sitting for so long. Yeah, I mean, for a couple hours. I mean, I work from my chair like 8 hours a day for work, right? So. Tontai is really spamming that CodePen link. If Nightbot was here, Nightbot would probably drop the ban hammer on you. Shine Spectrum, to be exact. Yeah, Arbor Shoes, if you drop that in Discord, that's probably the best place that I'll remember to look at it. So if you're in our Discord, also if you're here and you want to be in our Discord, you can go to discord.stephenfreemore.com. That's probably the best place to find me or other people from this particular stream offline. The terminal is not visible due to comments. Well, I can flip it if you want. I think right now though it doesn't matter that much because I'm not doing anything in the terminal, but I do take your point. But I do have another scene set up, so if there's ever anything on screen that you really want to see that's being blocked by chat, just yell at me. I'll try my best to swap between the two when necessary. At the moment though, there's nothing going on the terminal besides process monitor at the moment. Yeah, I don't know if it's inspiring this .dev, but I know it's kind of like you got to know yourself, right? And I know selfishly that I feel better about life and I have more energy to do things when I'm creating things. So streaming is kind of an outlet for doing that, right? I can both write code and build things in software. I can also create content that lives on my YouTube channel. I can use my streams to create other videos that will live on my YouTube channel. So it's just kind of like trying to take care of for me it's like a form of trying to take care of myself. Making sure I have some sort of creative outlet and making time for it is important. Making time to learn how to code, like it's all just kind of packaged together, right? That's why this having a stream has been very helpful because I kind of kill a lot of birds with with one stone, right? So like if I stream, I can learn new things, I can write code, I can create content for my YouTube channel, and then I feel energized through the act of creating. So it's a very selfish activity in that way. Artwork Studios. It's hard. I don't know why I always say your guys' names, but I've gotten to this habit of always reading your usernames and the comment. It's hard for me not to do something when I finally blank. It's so damn comforting. When you finally blank, what does when you finally blank mean? This.dev. I applied for my first jobs since the last time I was here, by the way, and thanks for compliment on the username and remembering me. Yeah, of course. Yeah, memorable usernames are helpful. Congratulations on applying for your first job. My one tip would be make sure you follow up. You know, uh, to try to, if you can, call the office, send an email. Follow up is always super important. Yeah, join the Discord. Yeah, if you guys are interested, the Discord's a good place to be. There's a lot of smart folks in there. There's about 80 of us now. Yeah, he does have the perfect username for a YouTube channel. Oh, by blank, I mean there's nothing going on in my mind, which is rare. Yeah, having a quiet mind. That is peaceful. I'll agree with that. Having a quiet mind is comforting. I don't remember what I was doing. Oh, I was adding that Gemini thing. Okay, so now that I have the library locally, what else was I supposed to do? Submodule init, submodule update. Get submodule init, get submodule update. And then the other thing I need to do is I need to edit the submodule so that it points at a particular branch. So right now this is just going to point at the main branch, but I need to point it at a particular branch. Set submodule to specific branch. Failed to create regest error. What? 404? Okay, so ls, or no, cat get modules. I want to change the name. How do I change the name? I mean, I'm sure I could just edit that file, but I want to try to learn the commands. So, Copilot suggest get change submodule name. So then I would do get submodule rename lib/gemini.net to gemini.net. What? Did Copilot just hallucinate on me? There's no rename command, is there? I think Copilot just hallucinated. This is why you can't trust AI. They lie. And they lie confidently. Let's see. I'm going to ask Gemini. How to rename get submodule. Eddie, what are you working on? So I'm working on a So Microsoft released this new framework this past week called Agent Framework. It's supposed to be a framework that helps you build AI agents, and I'd really like to learn it. So I've been working through some of the tutorials, and now I'm going to try to build. I'm going to try to use it to build basically what is like a um, sorry, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought because I was reading Gemini's response. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to rename it. I feel like if I rename it, I'm going to break a bunch of stuff. But now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use that agent framework to build an application that can help me draft blog posts. So basically use AI to help me research, write, and edit the initial draft of blog posts. So not really like AI slop generator, but like I can't pay. I don't have the money to pay for like an employee or like an intern. But can I create the same effect as having like an assistant or having a somebody who's paid to help me develop blog content with an application? So that's what I'm currently working on. So now what do we need to do? We need to say get submodule lib gemini.net dash dash set branch, excuse me, dash dash name. Also, I've got about 9 more minutes on stream, and then I'm gonna why doesn't it like that? I wish it would tell me why it erred. Like, it doesn't tell me why it erred. Get submodule sync. Get submodule update dash dash remote. Fantastic. Okay, so now that we have our submodule checked out at the right branch, we need to add it to our we need to add it to our solution, or at least our project. Yeah, we need to add it to our project now. To be honest, I was once told by an AI that toothpaste with nitroglycerin was healthy for my eyes. Man, that's dangerous stuff right there. This is why you never use a distilled model unless you need a little help. 9 minutes, I see. Actually, Simon, what was your longest and shortest stream? I don't have any of my shortest stream was probably like a few minutes. Like I tried to stream Sunday night and it lasted like 20 minutes. I started the stream and then my wife needed help with something and then I ended the stream. My longest stream, I think when I was doing Advent of Code, which that'll probably be my longest streams this year too in December. But when I was doing Advent of Code last year, I think I streamed for like 6 or 7 hours. Like I started at like 8 o'clock at night and I didn't get off till like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning because I was just like heads down trying to solve the problem before time ran out, or at least before the day was up, which obviously I didn't do because it was 2 or 3 a.m. the next day before I solved the problem. But that's probably my longest stream was at Advent of Code, which is, I mean, there's nothing wrong with, you know, long streams. It's just it's harder to pull off really long extended streams when you work and have a family, just because the day is already so chock full of things you need to do that to have, 5 or 6 hours of uninterrupted time, it's just not really feasible, you know. Which is hence the reason I'm streaming at 4 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so I think right now, if I do .NET build, I think this is going to break, because I think this is going to try to build everything. Oh, no, it doesn't. So MS build must pick up on the fact that lib is a submodule, because normally MS build will dive into all your, let's see, does MS build look at Git submodules? Because normally MS build will dive into all your directories. Huh. Yeah, normally if I clone a repo like that, MS build will actually try to build all those projects, but it didn't that time. So then what we need to do is we need to say .NET add, and then we need to say source Casper console has a reference to lib Gemini.net, and specifically we want source Gemini.net extensions.ai. Okay, and so then if we .NET build now, it should build all the Gemini.net projects. So basically, because console references the extensions.ai, which references the Gemini.net, so now it builds all those DLLs and includes them. Fantastic. So now we're using our forked version. Although, why does this have a Git status? Okay, git add, git commit, mchore, add forked Gemini.net as submodule. So theoretically, then, whenever Gemini.net publishes the package that has the changes that I need in it, I should be able to then just dereference the submodule that I added, and instead I should be able just to add their package, and everything should be happy. And then if I ever need to fork it again, I can switch back to the submodule. So let's push that up. And now on cool thing, GitHub shows submodules in a cool way. So if you go to GitHub now, you should be able to go to our repository. Casper. I like that name. If we go to lib, that should show Gemini.net, but it's a submodule, so it's actually going to point to my forked repo. So if I open this link in another tab, it'll take me over to my Gemini.net repo, or my forked version of Gemini.net. Cool. Well, it's 6:59, and we got a project set up. And so I guess next what we'll do is we'll let's actually start a branch. Let's say git checkout b implement initial blog draft feature, or I guess implement draft blog feature. So we'll do. Oh, actually, we'll put this under a feature. This. Fix that up. And when we come back, that's what we'll work on. It's 2 p.m. here, so 4 a.m. your time fits my lunch. Oh, very cool. Yeah, so it's well, it's not 4 a.m. here. It's actually 7 a.m. here right now. But I started at 4 a.m. or 4:15ish. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna sign off for the day. I will, I guess, see you guys tomorrow morning, or maybe I'll see you in a short, or maybe a video. I actually have a video I have to make today about adding tools and functions to AI agents. So if you see that video go live, let me know what you think in the comments. Otherwise, you can find me in Discord, obviously. So Discord's a good place to hook up with both the people in chat and myself. And then I also am most active socially right now on Blue Sky. So if you want to interact with me on the socials, Blue Sky is probably the best place. See you at this.dev. Have a good day. Fireworks Studios. I hope you guys have a good day. Anybody else is here? I hope your rest of your Tuesday is wonderful. If it's already Wednesday for you, have a great Wednesday, and I'll see you guys later. All right, bye.